I want you to kind of give us what a day, because I know even right now your son's a cop in Jersey.
Right.
And he's been one for a while. And I want people to know what is the difference between being a cop today after the whole defunding police, after the whole campaign of, the way cops are being painted right now. If a story comes out that favors cops being bad, they'll highlight it all over the place. If a story comes out with the cops doing the right thing, it may get shared in a couple places, but they're not going to share it. So it's only the bad part that they're shown with cops.
Right.
What is the difference between being a cop in the 80s, 90s, versus being a cop in 2021, 2020?
I think the biggest difference is the public image of policing has changed, and because of this radical left-wing movement. What I think is a pretty substantial push for socialism in the country. Back in the 80s, 90s, 70s, police officers, male, female, they were respected in the community. In your classrooms, your children were taught, cops are the good guys. They go out and they do a job that a lot of people wouldn't do. A lot of people wouldn't have the courage to do. They're underpaid, they're understaffed. And people respected them, just like you respected people in the military. Over the last 20 years or so, especially the last 10, over the last 10 years, 12 years, that's all changed. And there's been this major push by the radical left to demonize police. And we have a lot of this going on right now, especially in major cities. And what's ironic, it's those major cities that have this push to victimize the thugs and villainize the cops. It's those major cities that are run in a manner contrary to the way Giuliani ran New York City. And their violent crime, their shootings, their murder rates are through the roof because there's no accountability, because they're not enforcing the laws, because they have district attorneys that are being funded by these radical left-wing organizations. Soros, Soros funded the guy in Philly, the DA. He funded the woman in St. Louis. There's a bunch of these district attorneys in cities around the country that are not prosecuting people to break the law. And then you have legislators that create laws and governors sign off on them, like in California. You could walk into a CVS in California and steal $995 worth of goods and walk out, and you cannot be charged. Anything under $1,000 can be charged.
Wait, can you say that one more time? Say that one more time.
So you can go in and basically steal up to $999 worth of material out of a store, and nobody's going to charge you with a crime.
This is what city? What state?
This is California. In California. California today. Tell
me that is not the most pathetic thing you've ever heard. I can go into a store. This is a law in California?
No, it's laws, and prosecutors will not prosecute.
So what is it? Anything less than 1,000?
Anything less than 1,000. So that's.
So why doesn't anyone just go into any store and just say, I'm taking this?
Well, pretty much they are, and a bunch of stores are closing down. But here's the problem. What you have now is a three-pronged problem. You have legislators and governors that are enacting legislation that handcuff the cops, that, bail reform, these bail reform laws, you can't hold anybody that you're locking up anymore. That's number one. Number two, the prosecutors, they're targeting cops more than they're targeting bad guys. And I think the third thing is handcuffing the cops in general, where you have, like, for example, in New York City, you have the mayor of New York City, who's basically, during the riots last summer, told the cops, take a light touch.
De Blasio.
Take a light touch on crime. So you have all that going on, and then you got this push by Black Lives Matter and Antifa, primarily Black Lives Matter and groups like that, where they're creating this vision that there's systemic racism in policing, and that cops primarily target blacks and brown people, to go out and shoot them, right? Without cause. And I actually sent something to Sam. I don't know if you guys got it. You got that? Yeah, they're going to bring up something I want to show you, because these are real numbers, okay? Real numbers that are going on right now. These are numbers I'm going to show you for 2020.
Okay.
And in doing that, if you listen to the mainstream media, if you listen to what's being reported, you'll hear people say that cops, they shoot unarmed blacks far more than they shoot unarmed whites. Okay? So I'm going to show you something. Out of close to 50 million police suspect interactions, 50 million, 50 million, there's 10 million arrests in the country last year.
2020.
2020.
Okay.
So 20% of interactions leading to a arrest.
10 million arrests. Police fatally shot, out of 10 million arrests, they shot 1,021 people.
Okay.
Right? Out of that number, fatally shot, 983 were male, 38 female. 457 were white, 243 were black, 170 Latino, 151 other. But here's the interesting number, especially given what you hear in the media. Unarmed suspects, unarmed, 24 white, 18 black, 8 Hispanic, 5 other. The percentage...
The status coming from where? This is coming from...
So the arrest numbers are coming from the FBI.
Okay.
Those fatally shot numbers, they're coming from the Washington Post, which keeps a major...
From the Washington Post.
That's right. They keep a major database on fatality shootings dating back to 2015. Okay? Washington Post is not friends of the cops.
No, they're not. They're on the left, yes.
Okay. Those are the numbers. The chances of you being shot as a black male today, unarmed, based on last year's numbers, is 0.00018. Really? That's systemic? That's systemic racism? Come on. And here's the bottom line. Cops don't go to communities based on race. They go to communities based on crime. What they do is they take a map of a city. They put a map of a city on a computer like this. They pin map where that crime is happening. The dispatching of the police resources, the funding, everything is focused on where the crime is. There's nothing on there that says what color you are in the community. There's nothing on there that says what religion you are, where you come from, whether you're a citizen or not. Nothing. It's strictly based on crime. So when you look at that big crime map, this is where the crime is, that's where the cops are going. And unfortunately, you have cities today like Atlanta, Baltimore, Minneapolis, Chicago, New York City. Every single one of those cities are run by a Democrat. They're run by a Democrat, and every single one of them are facing the same issues. The highest violent crime, highest murder rates, highest shooting rates. And there's, between the laws, between the prosecutors, and handcuffing the cops, those numbers are going to continue.
So if you enjoyed this little short segment from the podcast that we did, here's another short segment to watch. Or if you want to see the entire podcast, click over here. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.